Have you ever paused in the quiet of the morning and wondered, is this what getting older is really supposed to feel like? Not just the stiff joints or the silver hair, but the emotions, the reflections, the invisible weight of time carried quietly on your shoulders. Growing older is often described in numbers, in candles on a cake or pages on a calendar. But the real story of aging runs much deeper, into the soul, the spirit, and the heart. This stage of life isn't simply about slowing down, it's about waking up to truths you couldn't see when life moved too fast. It's about coming face to face with the mirror and recognizing not just the lines etched across your skin, but the stories behind them. It's about navigating change, honoring loss, rediscovering meaning, and learning how to live on your own terms. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore the unspoken realities of aging, the quiet griefs, the unexpected freedoms, the beauty in becoming who you really are. We'll talk about letting go of pressure, embracing vulnerability, and finding strength in the very places society tells us we've grown weak. This isn't just about aging well. It's about aging wisely, with courage, with grace, and with your heart wide open, because the truth is you are not fading. You're deepening, and your journey, even now, is still unfolding. Are you ready to discover just how powerful this chapter of life can be? 1. The mirror effect. Recognizing physical aging. There comes a moment, quiet and unexpected, when an older adult catches their reflection and wonders, is that really me? The face in the mirror has shifted. Lines drawn from years of laughter and sorrow, hair turned silver like moonlight, eyes softened with wisdom. It's not vanity that prompts the question, but something deeper, a subtle realization that time has moved forward even as the spirit inside feels unchanged. This moment is not one of despair, but of reckoning, a tender, honest look at the journey written in skin and bone. For many older adults, this experience brings a quiet ache. Not because aging is inherently sad, but because it marks a transformation that isn't always easy to accept. Wrinkles aren't just signs of time. They're reminders of stories lived, people lost, and paths walked. Yet society often fails to recognize the dignity in an aging face. American culture, with its obsession with youth, can make older individuals feel invisible, as though their worth has somehow diminished with the softening of their features. But there is great power in reclaiming that reflection. It takes courage to say, yes, this is me now, and I carry all that I've lived. That face is a badge of survival. It has witnessed births, funerals, heartbreaks, and quiet moments of triumph. It has comforted loved ones and spoken truths. Every change it bears is evidence of a life truly lived. This acceptance doesn't happen all at once. It's a process, like learning a new rhythm after years of dancing to another beat. It begins with compassion for oneself. Instead of mourning what once was, older adults can start by honoring the present. The mirror doesn't lie, but it also doesn't define. Behind the aging features is still the same vibrant person, full of humor, memory, insight, and love. In a world that often equates beauty with youth, it becomes a radical act for older adults to look in the mirror and smile, to wear their age with confidence, to allow their appearance to reflect not decline, but depth. To say, this is who I am, and I am proud of the years that brought me here. This journey also invites a shift in perspective. Rather than chasing the past, it offers the chance to see aging as a form of unfolding. Just like the rings in a tree trunk tell its story, the human face becomes a living record of seasons endured and joys embraced. There is no shame in that. There is grace. In these later years, the mirror becomes not just a reflective surface, but a window to gratitude. To see oneself and say, I'm still here, is a victory. It is not the same face from 30 or 40 years ago, but it is wiser, kinder, more forgiving. And that is its own kind of beauty. 2. Physical decline and energy loss. There's a humbling shift that happens quietly with age. One day you bend down to tie your shoes and feel a pull in your back. You wake up sore, not from overexertion, but simply from sleeping in the wrong position. That burst of energy you once took for granted, the one that let you tackle errands, chase after children, or dance until midnight, seems to have softened into something slower, more measured. For many older adults, this change comes not with warning, but with gradual realization. And it's not easy. Tasks that used to be second nature now require planning, patience, and often rest. Carrying groceries up the steps feels more like a workout than a chore. Climbing a flight of stairs might leave you breathless. Even getting up from a low chair can feel like lifting your entire past with you. These aren't just signs of physical wear. They're reminders that the body has been through decades of living. Every muscle and joint carries a story, and every ache is a whisper from years of service. Yet this isn't about defeat. It's about learning a new way to move through life. Growing older requires a shift, not just in what we do, but in how we do it. It's a lesson in listening to the body, honoring its limits, and embracing its needs. Stretching in the morning isn't indulgent, it's essential. Taking a nap isn't laziness, it's maintenance. Choosing comfort over chaos is wisdom, not weakness. There is beauty in this recalibration. The slowing down opens space for awareness. You begin to notice things that once blurred past in a rush. Birdsong in the early morning, the feel of warm sun on your skin, the quiet satisfaction of a day well paced. Energy, while not infinite, becomes precious. You learn to spend it wisely on what matters most. And yet, the mind often feels younger than the body allows. That's one of aging's great ironies. The spirit stays eager, full of imagination and memory, while the limbs hesitate. It's easy to feel frustrated, even betrayed, when the body can no longer keep up with the heart's ambition. But in this tension lies a choice: resist and suffer, or adapt and thrive. Many older adults find strength in small victories. A walk around the block, gardening without pain, laughing without fatigue. These are not lesser accomplishments. They're milestones of resilience. The body may no longer sprint, but it can still endure, still serve, still express love through movement, no matter how gentle. It's also a time to shift focus from output to well-being. Instead of asking, "What can I still do?" ask, "How can I feel my best today?" Prioritize the things that support your energy: nutritious meals, steady hydration, restorative sleep, joyful movement. And most importantly, give yourself grace. Aging isn't about giving up. It's about evolving into a different version of strong. So when the day feels heavy, when your legs tire quickly or your back asks you to sit down, remember this: slowing down doesn't mean stopping, it means savoring. It means walking at your own rhythm, not the world's. Your energy may have changed, but it hasn't disappeared. It's simply shifted, awaiting your permission to be used more meaningfully than ever before.
If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
3. The mind remains young, while the body slows down. There's a quiet frustration that many older adults understand too well. When the body begins to falter, but the mind still dreams with the energy of youth. In the heart and in the mind, you may still feel like the person you were decades ago, curious, eager, full of life. But the body, with its aches and its limitations, doesn't always cooperate. It's like trying to run at full speed with the brakes half on. And it's not just inconvenient, it's emotional. It's that deeply human feeling of wanting to keep up with your own spirit. For so many seniors, this disconnection feels like being split in two. Mentally, there's still ambition. You want to travel, to write, to volunteer, to dance, to start something new. You picture yourself walking through Paris or picking up a new instrument or chasing grandchildren in the yard. And yet, Physically, you tire quickly. The knees protest, the back reminds you to slow down, and recovery takes longer than it used to. It's disheartening, not because the dreams have faded, but because the vehicle that carries them now needs more care. But here's the beautiful truth. The mind's vitality is not lost. If anything, it becomes richer. Years of lived experience shape a sharper, more insightful perspective. Your memory may forget names or misplace keys, but it holds on to the wisdom of decades, lessons that only time can teach. Your imagination may be gentler now, but it still paints vibrant pictures of what's possible. And your willpower? Often stronger than ever. The challenge, then, is learning to bridge the gap between the mind's energy and the body's capacity. That means embracing a slower pace without giving up the race. It means adjusting your expectations not to limit your dreams, but to meet them where you are. Maybe you don't climb the mountain in one day anymore, but you still take the hike one step at a time, stopping to savor the view. Creativity becomes a powerful tool in this stage of life. If you can't travel far, perhaps you write about the places you long to see. If you can't dance the way you once did, maybe you find joy in teaching someone else the rhythm. If your hands tire easily, perhaps you take up sketching instead of sculpting. The point is, the soul remains lively, and that liveliness deserves an outlet. For many older adults, rediscovering passions long buried becomes a path forward. A love for painting, for reading, for music, or storytelling can fill the void where physical activity once thrived. And in doing so, you remind yourself, and others, that age doesn't dim your light. It just refracts it in different, sometimes more beautiful ways. It's also crucial to speak gently to yourself in these moments of misalignment. Forgive your body for not keeping up. It's carried you through so much. Appreciate what it can still do. Celebrate it for showing up, even if it's not at full speed. And never ever stop feeding the mind. Read, reflect, question, learn, explore the world through thought, conversation, and creativity, even if your feet don't always follow. Because at the end of the day, you are still the same person inside, perhaps even more complete now than ever before. Your body may be older, yes, but your dreams are ageless. And as long as the mind is awake, the journey isn't over. It's just being lived a little differently, more mindfully, more purposefully, and with a heart that's never too old to imagine what comes next. 4. Emotional weight and accumulated losses. As the years go by, a different kind of heaviness settles in, not one carried in the hands or on the back, but in the heart. For older adults, life brings more than just birthdays and changing seasons. It brings an accumulation of emotional weight. It's the quiet sorrow of seeing friends fade away, of attending more funerals than weddings, of noticing empty chairs at the holiday table. It's the slow erosion of certainty, the tender ache of watching dreams drift quietly into the past. This is the part of aging that often goes unspoken, the grief not just for people, but for versions of oneself that no longer exist. The young parent, the rising professional, the late-night laugher. With every passing decade, life takes on a different tone, and the past begins to feel like a collection of precious but fragile keepsakes. The memories are vivid, but they come with longing. A smell, a photo, a song can trigger an entire world that no longer exists. And that's hard. Loss doesn't just arrive in one dramatic moment. Sometimes it trickles in, slowly, persistently. A best friend stops calling, a sibling passes away, a neighbor moves. The daily fabric of life begins to thin out, and the once busy calendar starts to quiet. This loneliness isn't just about being alone. It's about missing the shared history, the effortless conversations, the people who once knew you inside and out, the people who remembered your stories without having to be told. But here's where the strength of the human spirit shines through. With age comes not just grief, but an extraordinary capacity to hold space for it. Older adults become experts in resilience, not because they want to be, but because they've had to be. They learn to carry their losses without letting them define every moment. They learn to smile through tears, to keep going, to keep loving, even when love has hurt before. There's a quiet heroism in choosing to keep the heart open after it's been broken time and time again, in continuing to care, in continuing to show up for life. That is the emotional courage of aging. And while society may focus on physical strength, the deeper strength lies here, in the ability to mourn, remember, and still embrace joy when it arrives. It's also through these cracks in the heart that light gets in. A grandchild's laugh, a friend's unexpected call, a moment of beauty in nature. Each one becomes more meaningful, more vivid. The pain of loss sharpens the gratitude for what remains. It brings clarity about what really matters: connection, kindness, presence. Older adults often become the emotional anchors of their families and communities. Their stories carry the weight of generations. Their insights are earned, and though they carry sadness, they also radiate perspective. They know that while loss shapes us, it doesn't have to diminish us. It can deepen us, make us more compassionate, more tender, more fully human. So yes, aging brings sorrow, but it also brings the kind of wisdom that can only come from loss. The ability to live more consciously, love more generously, and be present in a way that younger hearts are still learning. The cracks in the heart don't make it weaker. They make it more capable of holding both pain and beauty at once. And that, in itself, is a powerful and sacred gift.
If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
Regret and reflection on life choices. At a certain point in life, usually in the stillness of early mornings or during quiet walks, the past begins to tap gently on your shoulder, not to haunt, but to invite reflection. For many older adults, this chapter of life is accompanied by a series of questions. Did I make the right choices? Did I follow the right path? Did I love deeply enough, live boldly enough, dream big enough? These questions come not from failure, but from the very natural impulse to look back and assess the journey. And with that reflection often comes regret. Regret is a complex companion. It rarely yells, it whispers. It shows up in flashes, watching a younger person chase their dream and wondering why you didn't chase yours, hearing about a friend's travel stories and recalling the trip you always meant to take. It's seeing how time has unfolded and realizing that some doors, once closed, may never reopen. And in those moments, it's easy to feel the sting of what if. But regret, as heavy as it may feel, is also a sign of a thoughtful, introspective heart. It means you cared. It means you dreamed. It means you believed life had potential beyond the routine. Regret does not mean failure. It means depth. And the beauty of reflection is that it allows older adults to not just look backward with longing, but forward with clarity. Many seniors begin to understand that every choice made, every path followed or left behind, was part of a mosaic that led them to where they are now. Life is not a straight line. It's a winding road filled with detours, delays, and unexpected turns. And sometimes, what looked like the wrong path turned out to be the one that built the most strength, the deepest love, or the truest wisdom. There's also a tremendous peace that comes with accepting that perfection was never the goal. We all make choices with the knowledge and courage we have at the time. Hindsight is a sharp tool, but it can also be unfair. The younger version of yourself did the best they could, and now, with the benefit of time, you get to make peace with those decisions and choose how they shape the present. What matters now is not what might have been, but what still can be. Regret does not have to be the end of the story. It can be a beginning. It can fuel a desire to make the most of the time ahead. Whether that means rekindling a passion, mending a relationship, or simply choosing to live with more joy and intention, there is power in realizing the present is still yours. Older adults have the unique gift of perspective. They can use regret not as a burden, but as a teacher. They know which risks are worth taking now, which relationships deserve healing, and which moments are too precious to waste. And perhaps most importantly, they understand that fulfillment doesn't come from checking every box. It comes from honoring the life they've built and finding purpose within it. So when regret shows up, let it speak. But don't let it stay. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and then redirect your energy to what brings meaning today. Because it's never too late to write a new paragraph in your story. And often, the most powerful chapters come in the later pages, when the pen is held with steady hands and an open heart. 6. Societal pressure and the burden of expectations. For much of life, society hands out invisible checklists. Get an education, find a career, marry, buy a home, raise a family, save for retirement. And for many older adults, those lists hang heavy, long after the ink has dried. The trouble is, not everyone's path fits neatly into those lines. And when it doesn't, the pressure builds, not just from others, but from within. There's a quiet, often unspoken burden many seniors carry, the belief that by now, they should have it all figured out. But what if they don't? What if, at 67 or 74 or even 82, someone is still discovering who they are? What if they never had children, or never found lasting love, or are still working because retirement wasn't financially possible? Society doesn't always make room for those realities. It's full of expectations that can make a person feel as though they've failed. Not because they truly have, but because the world insists there's only one right way to grow old. This pressure can be suffocating. Seniors may feel as if they're running out of time to achieve something, prove something, become something more. It can create anxiety, restlessness, and even shame. But here's the truth that society often forgets. Aging is not a race, and it's certainly not a performance. It's a deeply personal journey. And there is no universal timeline for fulfillment, purpose, or peace. Many older adults have lived extraordinary lives that defy convention. Some raised grandchildren instead of children. Some built careers later in life. Others found love at 70 after years of solitude. These stories are not lesser. They're rich with resilience, yet they often go untold because they don't match the script that society writes for aging. But there is incredible power in rewriting that script. In rejecting the idea that your worth is tied to accomplishments checked off decades ago. In choosing to live your remaining years not based on what others expect, but on what brings you genuine joy. Whether that means downsizing into a small apartment filled with peace, starting a new hobby, or finally taking that art class you always put off, it's valid. It matters. And it's yours. The truth is, the world is beginning to change. Conversations around aging are shifting. People are realizing that growth doesn't stop at retirement, and dreams don't have expiration dates. Older adults are speaking up, living boldly, and embracing paths that look nothing like what was expected, and everything like what they truly need. So to any senior who feels the weight of not measuring up, know this. There is no universal formula for a life well lived. What matters is how you feel when you wake up each morning. Are you at peace? Are you doing what makes your heart stir? If the answer is yes, even in small ways, then you're doing just fine. Let this stage of life be the one where you stop seeking approval and start seeking alignment. Live for your own values, not someone else's ideals. You've earned that right. And in doing so, you might just inspire the next generation to live with more freedom and less fear. Because a life lived with authenticity, especially in the face of pressure, is a life of remarkable courage. 7. Shrinking social circles and loneliness. There's a quiet change that sneaks into later life, one that's not often talked about in cheerful birthday cards or retirement brochures. the slow shrinking of your social world. Friends who once felt like family drift away, whether by distance, obligations, or the passage of time. Some move to be closer to their children. Others disappear behind the heavy curtain of illness or the finality of death. What was once a rich landscape of connections gradually becomes a patchwork of occasional phone calls and fading traditions. And with that shift comes something that can feel even heavier than solitude: loneliness. Loneliness in older age isn't just about being alone. It's about the loss of shared history. It's about not having someone who remembers your stories before you tell them, someone who knows what your silence means or laughs with you over memories that need no explanation. It's about the absence of those soul friends who once showed up unannounced and stayed for coffee, or the neighbor you chatted with over the fence every morning. These connections don't vanish all at once. They thin out, little by little, until one day you realize how rare genuine companionship has become. Making new friends at 65, 75, or 85 isn't like it was at 25. The spaces and circumstances that once made connection easy, school, work, parenting circles, have changed or disappeared. And in their place, many seniors are left asking, where do I go to find someone who sees me, hears me, understands me? It's not just about socializing. It's about being truly known. But here's the deeper truth. While friendships may become fewer, they also have the potential to become deeper, richer, more intentional. In these later years, there's no time for surface-level chatter or obligatory gatherings. The connections that matter now are the ones that nourish the spirit, the ones where laughter flows easily and vulnerability is met with grace. Even one or two of these friendships can be life-giving. And even though building new relationships may take courage, it's never too late to open a door. Sometimes it starts with a simple conversation at the community center, a shared moment at church, or a mutual nod during a walk through the park. Sometimes it's about reaching out to old friends you've lost touch with or being the first to break the silence. Vulnerability can be uncomfortable, but it is also the birthplace of connection. There is also value in learning to enjoy your own company, to sit with yourself and not feel lonely but whole. This is not about replacing people. It's about grounding your peace within. Hobbies, creative pursuits, nature, and spiritual reflection can fill spaces that used to be crowded with noise. And in that stillness, many seniors find a kind of friendship with themselves they never had time to develop before. Loneliness is real. But it doesn't have to be the final chapter. With intention, openness, and a willingness to risk closeness again, new relationships can form, even in unexpected places. And when they do, they are often more meaningful, because they are built not on convenience, but on choice, on mutual respect, on the deep desire for connection that never truly fades. So for every older adult who feels their world has gotten smaller, remember this: your heart has not. It is still capable of laughter, compassion, and love. You are never too old to be seen, to be heard, to be held by friendship. You may have fewer people in your life now, but the ones who remain and the ones yet to come may just be the ones who matter most.
If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 7 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
8. Toxic comparisons in the digital age. In an era where lives are constantly on display, scrolling through screens has become both a habit and a hazard. For older adults, especially those navigating the emotional terrain of retirement, aging, and loss, social media can often feel like a double-edged sword. On one hand, it connects, offering windows into family milestones, faraway friends, and joyful updates. But on the other, it quietly fosters comparison. As you watch others post smiling photos, luxurious vacations, seemingly perfect families, and endless celebrations, it's easy to wonder, why doesn't my life look like that? This kind of comparison is especially cruel because it's rarely fair. What's shown online is only a highlight reel. The best angles, the curated moments, the polished smiles. What's not shown are the sleepless nights, the family tensions, the quiet worries, and the everyday aches of being human. And yet, when a person is alone, tired, or reflecting on their own journey, those filtered snapshots can plant seeds of self-doubt. Did I do enough? Have I been left behind? Am I missing out? For seniors, this can be deeply painful. You may have spent a lifetime building a home, raising children, working hard, and navigating unimaginable challenges. But in a few minutes online, all that can feel invisible, overshadowed by someone else's beach photo or dinner party. This emotional comparison doesn't just affect self-esteem, it erodes gratitude. It makes it harder to see your own blessings, your own beauty, your own victories. But here's the powerful truth. Your life is not a post. It's a novel, a rich, textured, multi-layered story filled with chapters of triumph, heartbreak, sacrifice, laughter, growth, and grace. And no image on a screen can capture what it means to live a full, meaningful life. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are simply walking a path that is yours and yours alone. In fact, older adults carry something that social media can't replicate: authenticity. You've lived through decades without filters. You've learned how to be real, how to endure, how to stay grounded through uncertainty. That wisdom is a treasure, not a liability. And while others may chase the next like or follower count, you have the freedom to pursue something more enduring: connection, peace, and purpose. One way to reclaim power in this digital age is to control what you consume. Curate your online space the way you'd curate your home. Fill it with what uplifts you. Follow pages that inspire growth, joy, health, and creativity. Mute what drains you. Disconnect when needed. And spend more time in the real world, where laughter can be heard, hugs can be felt, and stories are shared over coffee, not captions. You are not your follower count. You are not the vacation you didn't take. You are the laughter lines earned from raising a family. You are the courage it took to start over after loss. You are the wisdom that comes from living through times others only read about. And none of that fits into a frame. So when comparison creeps in, pause and remind yourself. A good life is not always photogenic, but it is deeply felt. You are not behind. You are becoming. Let others have their filtered moments. You have something far more valuable, a legacy that can't be scrolled past, only lived and remembered. 9. Wisdom and gratitude as silver linings. In the golden years of life, there is a quiet clarity that begins to take hold, like sunlight breaking through morning mist. It's not loud, it doesn't arrive with applause, but it's there, steady and unmistakable. It's the wisdom that only comes from decades of living, loving, losing, and learning. For older adults, this wisdom is not a textbook kind of knowledge, it's soul-deep understanding. And along with it comes something just as powerful: gratitude. When you're younger, life moves quickly. You're often rushing, through school, through work, through milestones. There's a sense that happiness lies just ahead, if only you can do more, earn more, be more. But somewhere along the way, with age, the chase slows. And when it does, it opens the door to see what's been there all along. The little things. The sound of birds in the morning. The warmth of a coffee mug between your hands. The way a child laughs without holding back. These details, once overlooked, now shine like gold. This is one of the great gifts of aging. The ability to see beauty in the ordinary. Where others may see routine, seniors begin to see ritual. Where others see quiet, they find peace. Where others see limitation, they learn appreciation. It's not about settling, it's about savoring. The race becomes less about reaching the finish line and more about enjoying each step along the way. Wisdom also brings discernment. Older adults become more selective about where they place their time, their energy, and their presence. They learn to say no, not from bitterness, but from clarity. They stop chasing approval. They let go of the need to please everyone. They begin to understand that joy isn't found in doing everything, but in doing what matters. And that shift is liberating. Gratitude deepens as the years stretch on. Not because everything is easy, but because every hardship has taught a lesson. The struggles, the heartbreaks, the illnesses, the disappointments have carved out space for greater compassion. When you've survived the storm, a gentle breeze feels like a blessing. When you've seen seasons change, you begin to cherish the moment you're in. And it's not just about looking back with fondness. It's about moving forward with intention. Many older adults find themselves mentoring younger generations, passing down not just stories, but values. They know what matters: kindness, integrity, presence. These are the markers of a meaningful life, and they understand that success isn't measured by trophies on a shelf, but by the impact you leave behind, in hearts, not headlines. There's also a growing sense of freedom that comes with this chapter of life. No longer bound by proving oneself, many seniors find the courage to live authentically, to dress how they want, speak how they feel, and love without hesitation. It's a kind of rebirth, one rooted not in youth, but in truth. So yes, getting older comes with challenges, but it also brings gifts that youth rarely offers: clarity, peace, depth, perspective, and perhaps most importantly, gratitude, for the life that has been lived and for the moments that still remain. The silver lining is not a consolation prize. It's a crown earned through experience. And when an older adult smiles at the sunrise or tears up at a piece of music or sits quietly with someone they love, that is not just aging. It is living, fully, presently, and with a heart wide open to all that still is. 10. Self-acceptance and confidence in later life. There is a moment in later life when, after decades of striving, pleasing, adjusting, and self-questioning, a new feeling begins to rise, not with a shout, but with a steady warmth. It's the realization, I am enough. For many older adults, self-acceptance doesn't come all at once. It arrives gradually, like the soft unfolding of morning light through a window. And when it does, it is one of the most liberating experiences aging has to offer. In youth, we're often taught to measure ourselves against external yardsticks: how we look, what we achieve, how others see us. But as the years pass, those yardsticks begin to lose their power. The mirror no longer holds judgment, it holds memories. The resume no longer defines worth, it reflects chapters of growth. Slowly, the desire to compete, compare, or conform fades, and in its place grows something far more sacred: peace with who we are. Self-acceptance is not about pretending life has been perfect. It's about recognizing that your imperfections, your mistakes, your quirks, they are part of your beauty. They are what make your story real. Your laugh lines speak of joy. Your scars tell of resilience. Your slower pace shows wisdom in choosing rest over rush. You are not less because you are older. You are more complete, more whole, more attuned to what truly matters. This chapter of life is often the first one where people feel they can finally stop performing. There is no need to prove anything anymore. Not to the world, not to your family, not even to yourself. You've already done the hard things. You've loved deeply, faced loss, overcome doubt, and navigated countless changes. That strength lives inside you, and now the gift is to simply be, to live from the inside out, not the outside in. Confidence in later life doesn't mean loudness. It means certainty. It's walking into a room and knowing your worth without needing attention. It's choosing clothes that make you feel good, not younger, but more you. It's speaking your truth with kindness, but without apology. It's laughing at your own jokes and dancing in the kitchen because the music moves you. It's freedom, not ego. It's joy, not validation. And this confidence becomes magnetic, not just to others, but to your own spirit. It helps you make new friends, reconnect with old ones, pursue hobbies without fear of judgment, and step into each day with a sense of grounded grace. You no longer wait for permission to feel beautiful, valuable, or worthy. You know that you are. Self-acceptance also transforms relationships. When you accept yourself, you no longer settle for relationships that drain or diminish you. You choose companionships that bring light. You set boundaries with clarity and compassion. You let go of the need to be everything to everyone and start showing up fully for yourself. So to every senior who has ever doubted their place or worth, take heart. The years you carry are not a weight, but a crown. You are still becoming. And this season, this richly textured, deeply honest, joyfully imperfect season, is where you get to live on your own terms, where you finally get to look in the mirror, smile at your reflection, and say with no hesitation, I love the person I've become.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
11. The power of connection and vulnerability. There comes a time in life, often in the later chapters, when we begin to realize that the richest parts of our journey weren't the accolades or accomplishments, but the relationships we built along the way. The quiet conversations, the deep belly laughs, the hands we held during grief and joy. For older adults, connection becomes not just a want, but a need, a lifeline to what makes life meaningful. And at the heart of that connection lies a quality that may surprise some: vulnerability. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. It's saying, I need someone today. It's admitting that the loss still hurts. It's laughing until you cry with someone who understands exactly why you're laughing. It's telling your story, the good, the bad, the beautiful, and letting others truly see you. For those in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, this openness becomes less about seeking validation and more about seeking truth. And in that truth, connection blossoms. Too often, older adults are told to be stoic, to keep it together, to be the pillar of strength for everyone else. But the truth is, when we share our struggles, when we say out loud, this is hard, we give others permission to do the same. And in that shared honesty, isolation begins to dissolve. We realize we're not alone in our fears, our regrets, our joys, or our hopes. There's profound comfort in that. Many seniors carry heavy emotional loads, grief that spans decades, silent worries about health or finances, the ache of feeling forgotten. But when one person opens up, when someone dares to speak from the heart, it invites others to step forward too. Whether it's in a support group, a church gathering, a phone call with an old friend, or a conversation over coffee with a neighbor, vulnerability builds bridges. It creates safe places where love can grow again. Connection at this stage of life isn't about popularity. It's about presence. It's about sitting quietly with someone who gets it. It's about finding those people who listen without fixing, who laugh without judgment, and who simply show up. Even one of those people can be enough. Even being that person for someone else can be life-giving. And for those who feel disconnected, know this: it is never too late to begin again. Reaching out takes courage, especially after loss or disappointment, but the risk is worth it. Start small, share a memory, ask a question, offer a kind word. The world is full of people, young and old, who are also yearning for connection, even if they don't say it aloud. Vulnerability also deepens self-connection. When you stop pretending and start honoring your truth, you begin to feel whole again. You no longer need to wear masks. You no longer need to hide the ache in your heart or the spark in your soul. You simply get to be, and that, in itself, invites the kind of connection that lasts. So to every senior who has felt alone in a crowded room, or who wonders if their story still matters, it does. You do. The moments you share, the wisdom you carry, the love you're still capable of giving, they are not diminished by time. They are illuminated by it, and in your willingness to be vulnerable, you show the world something powerful, that aging doesn't have to mean closing off. It can mean opening wider, reaching deeper, and finding even now the kind of connection that nourishes the soul. 12. Aging as a journey of growth and meaning. To age is not to fade. It is to evolve. And for those in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, there is a quiet revolution happening. The recognition that aging is not the end of the story, but an extraordinary chapter of growth, clarity, and meaning. It's not about counting down days. It's about deepening into life. About finally understanding that the years behind us were not just a collection of events, but the soil from which our truest selves have grown. In earlier stages of life, it's easy to believe that growth has a finish line, that once you reach a certain age, you've become all you're meant to be. But the older you get, the more you realize that this journey has no deadline. There is still more to feel, more to learn, more to give, more to become. Aging strips away the unnecessary and reveals the essence. And in that revelation, many older adults find something they've never fully embraced before, themselves. It's in these later years that meaning begins to crystallize. The noise quiets, the race slows, and you begin to see what truly matters. It's not the awards or titles or possessions. It's the way you made someone feel. It's the lives you touched. It's the joy you brought, the kindness you offered, the love you gave without condition. These are the things that last. These are the real treasures of a life well lived. Many older adults discover that with age comes a kind of sacred perspective. They stop chasing what doesn't serve them and start leaning into what does. They find purpose in presence, in being there for a grandchild's question, in writing a letter to an old friend, in sitting under a tree and simply being. They take pride in small rituals, morning walks, baking a favorite pie, telling stories that make others laugh or cry. These moments aren't filler. They are the heart of meaning itself. And with this perspective comes a different kind of ambition. Not to be busy, but to be intentional. To wake each day and ask, how can I bring light into the world today? Sometimes that light is a listening ear. Sometimes it's a prayer. Sometimes it's the decision to forgive. Sometimes it's choosing to laugh, even when life is hard. All of these are acts of growth. All of them are powerful. Aging also brings legacy. And legacy isn't just what we leave behind. It's what we live now. It's the way we show up with grace, honesty, and strength. It's how we model resilience, not in perfection, but in perseverance. It's how we teach the next generation that aging is not something to fear, but something to honor. Something to embrace with open eyes and an open heart. So yes, bodies change, hair grays, time moves, but the soul expands, the spirit deepens, and that is where the richest growth happens, not in spite of aging, but because of it. This is the time to walk with dignity, to speak your truth, to chase joy however it looks, to remember that meaning isn't found in the distant future. It's right here, in the life you're still living. And when the world tries to define aging as decline, remember this: you are still becoming, still unfolding, still blooming in your own beautiful, wise, and powerful way. Aging isn't the sunset, it's the golden hour, the moment when everything is illuminated with purpose and peace. Life, especially in its later years, is not about striving to reclaim what once was, but about embracing what is with honesty, courage, and grace. The content reminds us that aging is not a decline, it's a deepening. It teaches that while physical strength may wane, emotional depth, self-knowledge, and the capacity for meaningful connection only grow stronger. There's immense wisdom in accepting the natural changes of aging without shame, in letting go of regrets and societal expectations, and in choosing presence over performance. It's a time to honor the life you've built, even if it didn't unfold exactly as planned. Real joy comes not from comparing your life to others, but from cherishing your own unique path, the laughter, the losses, the quiet victories. Vulnerability becomes a strength, and self-acceptance becomes a kind of liberation. This season of life calls us to slow down not because we've lost our value, but because we're finally able to see what matters most. The lesson is clear. You are still becoming, still capable of deep purpose, and still worthy of joy. Aging is not the end of meaning. It is its richest expression.
Thank you for joining us today. We would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today, how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue to create great content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.